Well, good afternoon. We're continuing on with the commentary on the book of Matthew, and we reached chapter 14. And this is where John the Baptist sadly gets his head cut off. And at that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Jesus. But he concluded that he said to his servants, "This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him." Herod, without knowing it, was actually prophesying that Jesus would be raised from the dead. He didn't know it, but it was going to happen. But he thought it was John the Baptist who had been raised from the dead because Herod had had him killed. For Herod had laid hold of John the Baptist and found him and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. For John had said unto him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." John was telling Herod that it was unlawful for him to be sleeping with his brother's wife. And when he would have put John to death, he feared the multitude because they counted him to be a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod. Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, before being instructed of her mother, said, "Give me here John the Baptist's head in a charger." From these actions, we see that Herodias was an evil woman. She was committing adultery and also leading her daughter into being complicit in the murder of John the Baptist, because he had publicly stated that her relationship with Herod was unlawful. As it states in Revelations, neither adulterers nor murderers shall enter heaven. And the king was sorry, nevertheless, for the oak's sake. He'd made this oath, now he had to follow it. To them which sat at his meat, and commanded it to be given to her. This is why Jesus said, "Do not make an oath on anything, because it can be used to trap you." It was the case here, because it would have been a public embarrassment to Herod if he refused to honor his oath before the people. And he sent and beheaded John in the prison. And his head was brought in a charger and given to the damsel, and she brought it and gave it to her mother. And his disciples came, took up the body, and went and told Jesus. When Jesus heard of it, he departed thence by ship into a desert place apart. And then the people heard thereof, and they followed him on foot out of the cities. And Jesus went forth and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion towards them, and he healed the sick. Jesus went aside to mourn for John the Baptist, but upon seeing the great multitudes, he put his own mourning aside and replaced it with compassion for the multitude, healing their sick. This is what good shepherds do. Their priority is always for the sheep, not their own feelings. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, "This is a desert place, and the time is now past. It's after sundown. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy something for themselves to eat." They were looking at the situation from a worldly viewpoint. Many people, no villages, no food. But Jesus said unto them, "They need not depart. You give them to eat." Jesus now tells them that they should be giving them food to eat, not sending away the multitudes. They are the shepherds. They should be looking after their sheep. And they said unto him, "We have but here 5 loaves and 2 fishes. How's that going to feed 5,000 people?" And Jesus said, "Bring them here to me. Bring me the 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Verse 19, and he commanded the multitudes to sit down on the grass, and took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up into heaven, he blessed them, and broke them, and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. Jesus gave his disciples a lesson here on how to give provisions or how to get provisions. And we go through the steps. Step 1, take what is available. What they have? 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Step 2, pray to heaven for provisions to meet the need. Step 3, bless the provisions. Step 4, break the provisions into pieces. Step 5, distribute the provisions to the multitudes. Step 6, collect everything that is left over. Don't waste anything. Verse 20, and they all did eat and were filled, and they took up the fragments that remained, 12 baskets full. The fact that there were 12 baskets left over after the multitude had eaten their fill clearly showed the disciples that God's power is not limited by the size of the crowd. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, beside the women and children. The actual size of the crowd would have been significantly more than this. Could have been 7,500, could have even been 10,000. And straight away, Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him to the other side where he sent the multitudes away. Jesus commanded his disciples to leave the area, get in a boat and cross over to the other side of the sea, so that they were not present when he sent the multitudes away. The 12 leftover baskets certified the reality of the miracle, symbolized complete provision for Israel, foreshadowed global salvation, and reinforced the disciples' future role. They stand as historical, theological, and practical proof that the Creator in the flesh satisfies every need and leaves an overflow of grace for the world. Verse 23, and when he had sent them away, the multitudes that is, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. Jesus went up into the mountain to commune with his Father without any interruptions. We are told to do the same. Go into our prayer closets, close the door, and pray to the Lord in private. And what we pray in private, he will answer in public. No prayer, no result. But now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves from the wind, was contrary. Jesus had done this to set up a test for his disciples. And in the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went out unto them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a spirit. And they cried out with fear. Just imagine you're out in a boat, being tossed to and fro by the waves and the storm, and in your heightened, stressful state, you see an image apparently walking across the waves coming towards you. You might be a little more than troubled. You may be screaming in total fear. But straightway Jesus spoke unto them, saying, be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it really is you, if it be you, then bid me to come to you on the water. Peter wanted to be sure that it was really Jesus walking to meet him. So he asked Jesus to invite him to do something which was impossible, to walk on the water also. And Jesus said, come. When Peter came down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. The impossible had become possible. Peter was actually walking on the water. But when he saw the winds boisterous and strong, he was afraid and he began to sink. He cried out, saying, Lord, save me. When he allowed his mind's authority to take over from his spiritual authority, he started to become afraid and started to think. The miracle started to collapse. There is a great spiritual lesson here. Your spiritual mind and authority must always control your worldview mind and your worldview body. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him, and said unto him, O you of little faith, wherefore did you doubt? Where is your faith? Why did you doubt? Do you really think I would set you to fail? So Jesus was challenging him. Do you really think I'd let you drown? And when they would come into the ship, the wind ceased. When both Jesus and Peter climbed back on board the ship, the wind immediately ceased. This clearly showed that Jesus had power over the wind, so of the earth, and the waves and the sea. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, Of a truth, you are the Son of God. Notice, Jesus did not deny it, nor did he tell them not to worship him. And when they were gone over, they came into the land of Gennesaret. And when the men of that place had knowledge of him, they sent out into all of the countryside around about, and brought unto him all that were diseased, and besought him that they might only just touch the hem of his garment. And as many as touched were made perfectly whole. Their faith was so strong that they believed that they would be healed if they could just touch the hem of his garment. And like the woman with the issue of blood, their faith has made them whole. So ends chapter 14.